brain's splitting off in so many different directions. My brain's splitting off in so many different. My brain's splitting off in so many different directions that no one has the answers to. My dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. And my dad was a shrink. Certain things upset me. And my dad was a shrink. Things upset me. What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? What's the furthest star, and then what's beyond the furthest star? Questions that no one has the answers to.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where Gary and I talk about X-Men, X-related comic books, and we are in X-Statix. I am ecstatic to be covering this series, Gary. I don't know why we haven't made that joke yet, so let's go ahead and get it out of the way now.
That's got that magical little X in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're continuing our X-Statix run, formerly X-Force. The Pete Milligan, Mike Allred deconstruction of superheroes and fame. We're just in the relaunch under the new name, dealing with the fallout of the events of the end of X-Force. Having recruited a new member, Venus D. Milo, we were kind of left in the last issue with her being informed that her contract states she cannot join the team. Dun, dun, dun.
And also, our kind of main plot is this kid, Andrew, I think? Arnie. Who basically got a cameo from Edie one time and fell in love and has developed world-altering powers and is fucking up a whole town, Twilight Zone style. And the X-Statix's rivals, the O-Force, have been sent in, or about to go in, and to deal with this. And it's causing a lot of friction. It's causing problems, and that's what we're going to kick off. How are you, Gary? Things are good?
I'm doing all right. You know, drinking my coffee, sipping my water, getting over a little cold or something. So I'm a little scratchy throated.
How do you feel about all of the Star Wars announcements yesterday?
Well, I feel like I can safely ignore them without complaining about Disney on Twitter.
Fucking nailed it. How much?
Where's my parade?
My real question is like, how did your mute filters hold up? Like, did you see a bunch of stuff just in the wild, or were they strong enough to prevent you from even seeing the word Star Wars?
They were strong enough to prevent.
Nice.
I saw some joke tweets. I was sure it was about it. Like people would photoshopped the announcement to be like, this is what they should do, and to put some stuff up. And I saw those and then I intuited, I'm like, okay, there's something Star Wars going on, but I don't have to know it. And then then I clicked through to the Marvel stuff because that's who I am, and saw that, and then saw some of the Star Wars stuff there, because some of the tweets contain both, and it's like, this contains a word you muted. Do you want to see it? And I'm like, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
The things I will do to watch the trailer for WandaVision.
I specifically didn't watch that trailer because I was I've already seen that first trailer, and I'm like, I'm already in. Like, I know I'm going to watch it. I don't need to see anything else about this series anymore. So
I just wanted to see how much it would follow the Vision series, which is so fucking good. And if only he was an X-Man, that'd be a really fun thing to cover.
Garrett,
because that's a really good series.
I don't know if you remember what we decided when we ditched X-Men Evolution. This is our fucking podcast, and that's like 8 issues or something. Like I remember it being 8 or 10 issues. Yeah, not even. It's 6 issues, dog. That's an episode and a half.
It's really good, and that might be like a good thing to do around when. Well, I mean, it won't be around when that comes out because we're going to be in this for a little bit, but just to tie into that show. Yeah. But seems like it's taking a little bit more inspiration than I thought it would, which is cool.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because that seems to be that has like hints of multiverse stuff. The Doctor Strange, the movie, the next one is like named Multiverse or something, and then all of the Spider-Man casting is like, hey, all of your old faves, like. If you want to see everybody from all 3 Spider-Man 2s in the last decade, have we got your back?
I'm a big fan of the Spider-Man 2 franchise. Just the second entry in all the different Spider-Mans. I'm into that. Like people didn't like it. I'm like, oh, I liked Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus. I'm into that. Like, I want Peter Parker to show up as the old Spider-Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that kind of thing. Like that. Do it. I don't give a shit. Those are better than average for those movies.
Yep.
Like I like those Spider-Man films, and yeah, I'm into it.
It's actually going to make
they're obviously doing a Sinister Six, and
yeah,
I'm into that too.
It's going to make me go back and watch those original 3 movies, I think, because I haven't seen those in a really long time, and I bet those first 2 really hold up because Sam Raimi knows what the fuck he's doing, and I bet that third one I'm going to get kind of drunk during it and then realize that I have blacked out on the third act.
Yeah. Around the time that Topher Grace does his Venom voice.
Oh my God.
The sentence that happens. Yeah. Anyway, we're not talking about Spider-Man.
No. Let's talk about X-Statix with this cover.
We do have a Spider-Man cameo coming up in this series
really?
At some point. Yeah. He shows up just very briefly. So let's talk about the cover.
Yeah, so this is a larger-than-life Venus de Milo holding a human heart with a smaller Guy Smith, a.k.a. the orphan, a.k.a.
Mr.
Sensitive, holding his hands over his chest like his heart had been torn out of his chest. Yeah. So, very cool, very pop art. Yep. I like this a lot.
Yeah, super good cover. It doesn't really say what's happening in the issue, but who cares?
Who cares?
The covers of this series either do that or don't. They either do like a big pop art thing, or they show exactly what happens in kind of an old school way. But just like great illustration.
I would put this on my wall. Like if I don't normally say that about covers because a lot of times they're real miss for me, even if they're good. As far as like putting something on my wall, but like this is like cool enough and interesting enough that I would probably do that.
I've wanted for a long time a piece of Mike Allred original art from this series, and it's just spendy.
Yeah,
like it's like, man, I hate haggling over art. I hate that feeling, but I'm just like, I just don't have $600 for this, my dude.
Yeah, like
for like a non pinup, like just for an interior page that's like Vivisector not in costume talking about a book.
Yeah,
like I'm just like I can't justify it. We start off immediately when the last issue ended with Sharon Ginsberg, who is the like assistant lawyer. Solomon O'Sullivan is an agent, not a lawyer, but he has some lawyerly kind of leanings. And then this is his assistant lawyer, Sharon Ginsberg, coming through and saying, "Hey, Venus de Milo, not only is she not on this team, she's with O-Force."
Yeah. And if they violate that, if she does anything on behalf of X-Statix, they're going to sue her into oblivion. And of course, Guy is really angry about this. I don't know if Guy was wearing this outfit in the last issue. I don't remember specifically. This may be them coming back from that dinner date that they had. But man, this is the fashion. Like I would wear this.
It's slick.
It's very cool.
Dude. We talked about it last episode. I love this.
Yeah,
the red and black.
I thought we
like
did,
outfit that they wears.
Yeah,
it just looks so cool. Like, so Guy like rips up the contract, and it's a copy, of course, that never works. And we kind of go in this whole arc here, like it's kind of interesting for the whole arc of the new issue. They're doing like the team at their lowest point.
Mm-hmm.
These next couple issues are going to be like real bleak times until they pull it out. Deadgirl like calls Guy out. He's like, "Hey, you didn't even want her on the team." He's like, I did. And Deadgirl snipes at her, and it kind of sets up this rivalry between Deadgirl and Venus de Milo.
Yeah.
Where Venus de Milo is the new sexy one, Deadgirl was going to try to make a go of that, but she is of course dead. So hard to be sexy. And Miles, the Vivisector, is just drinking and making fun of everybody, like doing one-liners.
Didn't realize I was on a podcast with a necrophobe. Okay, that's fine.
Oh yeah, just not into it.
Not into dead girls.
Not to kink shame.
Okay,
not to yuck anyone's yum. But I just
everybody has a dead girl, but you.
Yep. Good name for the title of this episode, Jeremy.
I like Vivisector getting drunk and just being kind of shitty at everybody. In fact, honestly I like it when they're all shitty with each other, which is not a normal feeling that I have when I read these kind of comic books. Like normally I want everybody to be like all friends, but them being shitty and snipey is really entertaining.
It's that's the theme of the issue or the arc. They talk about that where like Vivisector is like, you're watching this. This is what we do. He's talking to Dupe. He's like, are you doing more than watch? And Dupe just stares at him. There's some early hints that Dupe is the one who's manipulating the team into being what it is. This never, like spoiler, this never totally pays off. But it is an interesting idea. And Guy is trying to be like, while they're doing this sniping at each other, Guy is trying to keep his eye on the mission. He's like, hey, Arnie, like, we have to get this thing sorted out. Like, yes, he's a kid, but also it's really dangerous. He's talking to me psychically.
Mm-hmm. And Spike, the owner of this team, is like, hey, look, that's the O-Force's problem. Like, we're not gonna go and beat up on some kid on national TV. Like, we're not going, like, it'll just make us look worse. And like in the middle of this, as Guy is trying to get this whole team together, in walks the anarchist who's like, I'm going on tour. Like, yep. I'm just going to go do my own thing and fuck this entire team forever.
Yep. And he recruits Deadgirl. He's like, hey, do you want to come with me? We're going to make tons of money. We got sponsors. Let's do it. And they head off. Miles goes off to get drunk. And he reveals that Fat has gone home. Yeah. Like, Fat's not even there. Like, we didn't even see him. He says, like, I'm sorry, you're the leader of a one-man band.
I do like this panel where when the anarchist is trying to get Deadgirl, it's like, hey, come on, like, let's do this together. And she like looks back at Guy and Venus, and you could tell like it's an actual decision for her, right? Like, as much as she was in the middle of this and like making fun of Guy for his feelings or not feelings about Venus, like it's still a decision for her to leave the team. So when she goes along with them, which is going to come up a little bit later when Guy tries to convince her to leave. So.
Yeah. She's one of the characters of some decency.
Yes.
Of this group, which I like quite a bit. So he's basically everyone is out of the team or unavailable. Mm-hmm. Miles goes off to kind of angst in his library, and he's talking about kind of working through his thoughts drunkenly. Me and Billy Bob are not gay. Or are we gay? Like, we are in a state of gay/not gay, multisexual cats in Schrodinger's box.
I feel like you should say that to some snaps. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a jazz flow.
Yes. In Schrodinger's box. Yeah. But basically saying, like, maybe the team doesn't hate each other, but if they do hate each other, that's boring. So maybe our thoughts and our self-discoveries and all our actions are not our own. Like, X-Statix is this kind of beast that runs on conflict.
Maybe it's some kind of organic gestalt dynamic. And I'm like, is Gary going to bring up Nier again? Just because it has the word gestalt in it. Is Gary going to bring up his obsession with Nier?
I try to avoid bringing... Oh, okay. I see now. Well, because I do badmouth it a lot. Because that first game is fucking terrible.
Oh, no. I was just fucking with you, dude.
Yeah. Did you see that the new one that's coming out with the subtitle that's like 1 billion numbers?
Yeah.
That makes me so mad. How'd you do that? No one's ever going to remember it. And the people who are going to be the worst people on earth. Like, it's just going to be insufferable, the people who memorize that string of numbers.
It's
I know pi up to 13 digits.
It's like there's a joke there, and I'm trying to remember what it is. And I know you're not going to care whatsoever.
That's how you can tell it's a good joke.
Yeah, because you have to explain it. But it's like, it equates to like 1.5 or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, because it's the 1.5, blah, 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 because it's a remake or whatever. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's square root 1.5. That's what it is. So that's
gotcha. Cool.
I know you didn't watch the Video Game Awards last night, but when they debuted the gameplay trailer last night, they had some woman doing all of the intros and things, and she's like, and it's got a crazy name that's just a sick joke from Yoko Taro, but I'm gonna say all of the numbers. It's near replicate 1.2234, which is,
oh my god,
yeah, it was very funny to me. So.
What a sick joke.
What a sick joke. And I'm like,
gamers love sick japes.
And I'm kind of into Nier. And I was like, I
yeah.
don't think it's a sick joke. Like, I think it's just a joke.
Yeah.
A sick joke was if you make Gary play it. That would be a sick joke. Forced to.
Patrons. We cut over to Billy Bob. Back at his family, and even though he's bought them this huge house and given them all this money, they're still living in the what are these things called, Airstream, out in the backyard, like this RV. Mm-hmm. Just we're more comfortable like this. Like, we don't like living in the house, and they're basically rejecting him at this point. And it's pretty cold. Like, this is a rough time for Billy Bob here. We're like, oh, we stay inside the Airstream because it's easier to talk to each other. We're more comfortable. You don't really belong here. Billy Bob, we're not your family. We were your family.
I love the gallery, the peanut crowd here.
Yeah,
that pops up over the fence. It's like he's just trying to help. Like,
yeah, like
it's real,
Jerry Springer style.
It's very Jerry Springer. It's very Hank on the Hill. That's not the thing. What is the show?
King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
Hank on the Hill.
Hank on the Hill. What is that? It's the Breaking Bad spinoff that nobody wanted.
Watch Hank on the Hill. It's just like a close up of his grave in that desert. 60 minutes a week.
I was just going to say him collecting the rocks, but okay.
Okay.
This is really sad, and because like it had been revealed that his people weren't quite as redneck as they were led on to be, and I actually kind of dig this, like this family being like, no, we don't really, like, we were kind of comfortable. Like, the reason we didn't have all this shit is because we didn't want it, not because we couldn't get it. Like, I think that's a real deft hand to a quote unquote redneck / hillbilly family.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having a modest, place of living or a modest lifestyle.
Exactly.
Like, so then he goes and tries to get drunk. He ends up buying drinks for all his old friends. And after he tells them kind of all of his problems and that he can't be a mutant anymore, they beat the crap out of him, when they take him out. Cause it's like, that's what he's good for,
Yep.
So this is his rock bottom. We cut over to O-Force where Sullivan O'Sullivan is, kind of talking about, there's this great line here where he's talking about how fame is the lifeblood of the American dream. In the same way that one of our founding fathers might lay aside his simple plow and take upon himself the yoke of the presidency. So the American thing about fame, that's very funny.
You practically hear Lin-Manuel Miranda just like making notes. And yeah, just like, and he's basically saying like, hey, go out and we need to win. But we also don't want to be seen like smacking this dude around. Like, don't make the team look bad while you're doing this. But also, who gives a fuck? Like, you're there to do stuff on the for the cameras, not actually to save the day.
Yeah. And Guy Smith interrupts this, basically saying like, hey, this is actually really dangerous. They think that he's just doing this because of marketing reasons, but he's being genuine, trying to warn them. They end up taking him out, and they're like, basically like, this is a 13-year-old kid. How tough can he be? And there's the timing and the editing of this arc is really good. Like the page reveals. Mm-hmm. That's something that I love about comics is that like, it's hard to do cinematic reveals, but you can do it with the page turn, and really good comics writers do this. Yeah. Where they have like an ironic setup and then a payoff on the next page, where, it goes the next thing, there's this huge explosion and it's just internal monologue from Arnie saying, I blew up the school today.
Extremely good. Yeah. I like how he thinks that he has freed these kids from the yoke of the classroom or whatever, from liberated them from the classroom, and then like in the background are just a bunch of like bloody afraid people that are running from this building because he only gave them a 10-minute warning before exploding it. Like, yeah, literally living in a dream world, this kid is.
I also the shirt he's wearing in this, I had that shirt.
Oh, cool.
Like, I found that on like eBay or something at some point. And I was just reminded that I used to have that because I found a old picture of myself with it. I wish I still had it. Yeah. It was cool to have an X-Statix shirt. So he's saying, I can't just stand here and bask in my fame. I'm a general. I have to rally my troops. I don't have any, but I have an idea. He goes to the graveyard where all the Simpsons characters are buried as a little Easter egg, and starts raising the dead.
This is a weird thing. The Simpsons thing obviously is pretty obvious, right? Like, because it says, Burns, Simpsons, Wiggins, and all that. But like, it's a weird. I don't know. Whenever that's like to make a reference to the Simpsons in this comic book, it seems really weird. Like, I don't know, man. Like, if it would have been like the gravestone of all of the people from Friends, it would have felt the exact same way, right? Just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like if it was like Chandler R.I.P., I'd be like, okay, weird pull, but whatever.
Yeah. Fuck a Chandler. Oh wow,
didn't know you were Joey Man.
the original JM. It's a weird Easter egg. There's a couple weird Easter eggs that pop up later as well. Including like the cast of Mr. Show showing up in the next arc.
Okay, cool.
Which is really strange. So we cut over to the Spike and or the Anarchist and Deadgirl roadshow, Death and Anarchy Roadshow, where he just like the anarchist Tyke has invited a kid up to just fire a machine gun into Deadgirl.
Fucking crazy.
The expression on the kid's face, like, like.
Have you ever fired like an automatic or semi-automatic weapon before?
I've never fired any kind of weapon. I've shot a bow. So
that's extremely hard to do. Like that's a very that'll wear
cool.
your ass out.
It was fun.
It will take you by surprise like the first time you do it, because it just like the recoil is literally, it will just lift you, like you can't control it basically if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And that's what I'm picturing this kid going through, of like, yeah, I'm gonna get up on stage and kill this, and oh shit, what am I doing? Just like and like I love the fact that it's sponsored by Diet Doke and Samsung and all this other stuff. There's also Winchester Systems, which I don't think has anything to do with
that's calling to you specifically.
It's supernatural, but hey, yep. And Guy Smith shows up and is like, hey, what are you doing? Let's get you guys out of here. Like, come help me do this thing.
Yeah. He heads back stage. He's like, hey, this is a freak show. And he's like, yeah, no, but we're in control. They're the freaks. They're eating up everything I'm doing. I could start a new religion. This is the new age of superheroes. We don't have to fight anyone. We don't have to do good. And Guy Smith's like, what's the point of us if we don't do that? And he says, well, we're entertainers. We entertain. He goes and tries to talk to Deadgirl. He's like, Deadgirl will talk him out of this. And she's like, listen, I don't know what's going on in Tyke's head right now, but I think that he's having a rough time, and I want to be there when he hits rock bottom. You can order me to go. Do you want me to leave your friend, or do you want me to come with you to help you with this Arnie thing? And he decides to let her stay with Tyke. This is how Tyke is dealing with the fallout from Edie's death.
This took me totally by surprise. Like the subtle touch on this relationship of her, because I thought it would just be like, no, I'm having fun, we're making money, we're going to Europe next week and all this other stuff, right? Like I just assumed that it would be like a surface level read of this situation, and for her to like no, he's having a real bad problem, and when he breaks, like he's going to need somebody here that cares for him, because nobody else does, is really fucking sweet for a dead girl.
It's the X-Statix promise, which is like, it's going to be a little silly and postmodern, but the characters are real and they like each other, and you can take the characters seriously.
Yeah.
At the very least. And it's also like, it's a pretty well observed friendship thing. Like, have you ever had a buddy who is kind of a fucking mess, and it's like, yeah, this sucks, but also I know it's going to pass and I want to be there when it passes.
Exactly. Yeah.
This felt very well observed to me. So he lets her go, lets her stay. He's back, doing the mission with the owner, Spike. He's like, he turns to Miles. He's like, sober up. We have a job to do. And he's, drunk on the couch. And he's like, that's not our job. Like, our boss says that's not our job. This personal obsession of yours is ridiculous. Venus says she'll join, but she's in her civvies, like really cute little bunny slippers. And Spike's like, you can't do that. And Guy, again, these great splash page reveals, like Guy's like, well, thanks for the offer. Maybe you're right. Like, maybe we should just forget all about Arnie. And then we cut over to O-Force preparing to storm the town here.
Yeah.
With Ocean, the character who won the poll.
Ocean. And Guy and Vivisector are on the couch watching this, as they're like saying, as the team is basically giving the press release of like, hey, we're going to go in, we're going to see what we're up against. We think that Arnie, when he sees us and sees the O-Force come in, he'll probably just give himself up without a fight. And then it goes to a little panel with Arnie watching this on TV going, yeah, right. And he's got dressed up in like combat fatigues. And meanwhile, Guy Smith is doing some research and figuring out what the connection between Edie and Arnie is, and sees this whole thing, with the taped message, with him falling kind of head over heels with her. And he goes through his...
She got him out of a coma.
Yeah.
Like, he was in a coma, and the cameo brought him out of a coma, which, like, cameo should capitalize on this issue.
You would think.
Like, the soup Nazi will get your kid out of a coma.
I bought one cameo, and they email me every fucking day. And so, like, but they never mention comas.
Yeah. Way more than once a day. I was thinking about, like cameo, it makes sense for you to be a repeat buyer. I love like places where they think that you're just going to continuously buy the thing. Like I bought a mattress from an online mattress thing.
Yeah.
And they're constantly advertising to me like I'm collecting them.
Yeah. Like,
like
I only have a couple of
the
rooms.
whole point of view is that
the
whole point of view is I buy these for a couple of years, man. Like how often do you think I'm buying mattresses?
Oh man. We get that with Amazon all the time of like, oh, you bought a belt. Here's 17 more belts that you might want. And I'm like, I don't.
You must be into belts.
Yeah, dude.
I'm into belts, dude.
I'm not. No, I'm into my pants being held up and not thinking about needing a belt. So
yeah, like I want this problem solved. But Guy Smith says like, oh, so now I understand. Like now I understand who this kid is. This isn't about doing good or anything. This is about me. He's calling to me and he's going to judge me. Because Guy Smith has always had this death wish and this kind of like self-hatred. He's going to decide if I live or die based on letting Edie die.
And again, another pacing when you flip the page here, it's literally an explosion scene where Ocean is getting her legs blown off, and the leader of the team, who name I have totally forgotten already, is
Overkill.
There you go. Overkill is also like kind of in the vicinity of this explosion. Meanwhile, there's a reporter on site going like, "Oh my God, this is a nightmare! Like, what is happening?"
Yeah.
And there's dead people roaming the streets. Like, it's all very, very freaky. And the team is very quickly overwhelmed. Overkill goes to try to help Ocean and realizes like, "Oh, there's some dead people coming," and just leaves her behind. And
without her legs, she does the "I can't feel my legs," and she ain't got no legs kind of situation going on here. She turns to the TV and she's like, "Please, please tell me you're still watching." We cut over to Solomon O'Sullivan. He's freaking out. He's like, "Oh, they can't handle a kid." And the news report mentions that Guy Smith is parachuting in on his own.
I love how heroic and dramatic this is. It pisses Solomon off so much that he kicks his TV. Like, this is really funny to me. Like, if you saw this dude that you hate just literally doing the most dramatic and heroic thing you've ever seen in like his old uniform or whatever, you'd be like, "God damn it, fuck this."
Yeah. And the news report is like, why is he coming in alone? Like there's no anarchist or vivisector or fat or Deadgirl or everything is to Milo. And it cuts over to like people watching on TV, like the anarchist and Deadgirl are watching, and they also saw Venus and Spike watching, and everybody's just like, oh my God, like he's doing it on his own.
Yeah.
And that's our last page.
Yep. Really good issue. Really, really, really solid issue. Really enjoying this arc. I think I told you before, this is very much where like this is what I started with when we originally started the podcast and was very confused, and like going back through this and knowing what the fuck is going on helps dramatically. Like it's so much more fun. And just solid all around. Like even when I didn't know what was going on, like the stuff between Deadgirl and Anarchist at their little tour show, like really, really struck me as just being like really like better comic books writing and characterization than you normally see, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's like interesting stuff. This arc, the beginning of this is just like wall to wall pretty great. Like I love this arc. It has a bunch of twists and turns still. And it segues really naturally into the next arc, which is also good, I think. The book loses a little steam and then regains it, then ends. But the beginning of it is really, really good. And all of the, again, I know we've brought this up before, but this is how I want to see character deaths treated. Like this is such a big deal. The shadow of Edie, is over this entire thing.
Exactly.
This happened because of her. It's not just like, we have one issue. Like I recently read, for fun stuff, I read the Death of Wolverine arc. Last night I read the lead up to it where he loses his powers, and then read the arc of it last night where he gets covered in the adamantium statue and looks real goofy.
Oh, I've read that. Yeah. He makes that with death somewhere in there? Is that what happens? Does that? Yeah.
During the Paul Cornell run, that issue's great. Like that personification of death is really good. But after he dies, there is like a little mini series called Life After Logan. And then there's like a lot of one-offs of people being like, how does Jubilee deal with it and stuff? But it's not like a shadow over the entire book. This affects the world. It affects all the characters. Like this feels like a very respectful way to do death. Whereas with Wolverine, it's like, you knew it wasn't like there wasn't going to be a Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then like X-23 becomes Wolverine and Old Man Logan comes back in the future and all this nonsense. Like there's still Wolverines about. But in this, it's like, it feels like it sticks and it has a huge impact. And they will continue for basically the whole series, which I really love.
Me too.
So
absolutely, me too. This is great. If you like the show, the best way to support us is patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. A couple of bucks a month will get you access to the Slack channel, will get you access to episodes that are early episodes of this podcast and all the other podcasts on the network, get you a bunch of exclusive content. If you want to support the network doing cool things, you should come hang out during Duckstream, which is if you're listening to this as it comes out, it's 1 week from today. It'll start. No, I'm sorry. It'll start the next Friday because these come out on Saturday. So it's Friday the 18th. Days of Future Cast is going to be covering New Mutants. That Friday evening. So the New Mutants movie, we can go check that out. But there's going to be content all weekend long, 48 hours straight of raising money for Transactive, which we have done in the past, and it's a super cool group. Come out for, weird memes, fun video games, dumb games, all kinds of cool stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you're a day person, you got Cole Ross and crew. If you're a night person, you got us. You got the West Coast people. Guest starring Jeremy.
Yep.
It's going to be super fun. And there's a lot of neat things that we have planned for that. For example, Nick has never played Bloodborne. So if you want to see Nick from the network, our good buddy, check out Bloodborne for the first time.
How do you guys still let him, what is your entrance policy nowadays? I thought you had to check these boxes to get onto Duckfeed Network now.
You got grandfathered in, man.
Okay.
He predates Bloodborne.
He predates Bloodborne, so okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess that's okay. Yeah. I guess that's okay. Considering I predate Bloodborne too, so I can't really say anything. So.
Yeah. You just happen to be on the right side of history, and it's good for this is like Nick getting his GED.
Yeah, exactly.
He's catching up. Until we'll see you guys next time.